2,400 years since Hippocrates established the principles of medical practice. Assisted suicide changes these standards. For the first time in history, physicians may have the power of life and death in their hands legally. It is stated in the Hippocratic Oath, "I will prescribe regimens for the good of my patients according to my ability and my judgment, and do no harm to anyone." That statement, right there, goes against everything the right to die law is about. Every doctor, before graduating from medical school, takes the Hippocratic Oath, or something very similar to it. What we are asking of these physicians is where the line of life and death should be drawn. My opponents have brought up very extreme cases, such as painful terminal illnesses. When assisted suicide usually does happen, it is when someone is sick, but they have depression also. Let's take a look at one of the main characters in assisted suicide history, Dr. Jacob Kevorkian, commonly known as Dr. Death. I have some real-life examples from the medical practice of Dr. Kevorkian. Elaine Goldbaum had multiple sclerosis, but also had financial problems and feared losing her house. Jonathan Grenz had throat cancer and was said to be depressed and overwhelmed with grief following his mother's death. These were people who had chronic illnesses, but had questionable motives for assisted suicide. They wanted to end their life to escape things other than their illnesses. All of these people were murdered by Dr. Kevorkian. Now let's take a look at when others make the decision of life or death for you. This new ethical challenge to society is dramatized by the horrific case of Terry Schiavo. Terry became nationally known when her husband petitioned the state of Florida for 7 years to let his wife die. She was a patient who was deemed no longer worth saving and was killed by the inhumane process of dehydration, which is refusing nourishment to conscious, brain-damaged people who need feeding tubes to stay alive. This is an excruciatingly painful death. February 25, 1990, Terry suffers from a collapse and falls into a coma. November 1992, Terry's husband, Michael Schiavo, receives $1 million in malpractice award. $750,000 of that money was put into a trust where Michael had said during his suit would be spent on Terry's rehabilitation. Not one penny was spent on rehabilitation, and he would even refuse to give her the antibiotics she needed. Terry's parents pleaded with the court that they would continue to care for Terry. Michael refused to allow this to happen, because Michael then would be forced to forfeit the money if Terry continued to live. The saddest thing about this is that he chose money over his wife's family's happiness. March 18, 2005, Terry's feeding tube was taken out despite her parents' pleas. Terry's final heartbeat came on March 31st, 2005 at 9:03 a.m. This was assisted murder. These examples demonstrate what can happen when the value of life becomes measured in degrees of quality. The lines between preserving life at all costs and preferring death as an escape in difficult situations become blurred. Think about the movies we are entertained by today, such as The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is a post-apocalyptic society set in the far-off future, where everyone is entertained by watching children fight to the death. I guess with today's standards of the value of life, that may not be so far off after all.